KC are not the favorites to repeat, but now.
Yeah, it is
But you have a reaction to Travis.
I'll do both. It is disrespectful they're not the favorites, just like it would be disrespectful if the Nuggets weren't the favorites to win the series. But I'm not going to sit here and say it'd be like seeing.
Okay. I want to pause real fast because let's be very clear. The Denver Nuggets won way more convincingly against the Lakers this season and last season and won the championship way more convincingly than the Chiefs won their Super Bowl. Okay, the Chiefs had a close game against the Bills, against the Ravens, and against the 49ers. All 3 games they could have lost. So that doesn't even make any sense. Not taking anything away from the Chiefs. They deserve to win, deserve their title. But the Denver Nuggets won way more convincingly, and it's not even close. Look at that.
A unicorn if the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl. It could happen, but they should be the favorites. Now, the Travis thing is great, even though I'm not certain he had 2 years left on his deal. This adds 2 more years to his deal, so now he has 4 years left on his deal. I don't know that this necessarily means he's going to play more than 2 years, but I think it does give you a lot of certainty he's going to play at least 2 more years. And the Chiefs gave him more guaranteed money for this coming season and other stuff. Right. And that's really just, in my opinion, good business, but also unnecessary in that. Guess what? Travis Kelce's contract, which was not guaranteed this year, it was guaranteed. There was no scenario in which they're going to be like, you know what, we're cutting you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it was the right thing to do for a player who has never maxed out his money, who has never, you know what I mean, put the screws to him in that regard, and a player who demonstrated last year that come the postseason, he is as valuable as any non-quarterback in football. I truly believe that. I don't. In the Super Bowl, in the AFC Championship game, he had basically a perfect football game. The Bills game, and the Chiefs drafted a tight end in the 4th round. And this has been something I've wanted them to do for 2 years, because when you hear about Travis Kelce, do people, Bruce, say, "Oh my God, he's just a freak athlete"? Like you can't. No. Oh, he's so fat. No. What everybody says is, can't cover him. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, he's just, and so that clearly is about intelligence, technique, relationship with Mahomes. Those, to me, are teachable traits. And so.
Okay. I'm trying not to lose my mind here, because that may be one of the most insane statements I've heard in an incredibly long time. I'm dumbfounded by that. Let's unpack this for a second. Travis Kelce is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, tight end in the history of the NFL. There is a big debate whether it's Gronk or him. Doesn't matter. We know that he is one of the greatest tight ends in the history of the NFL. There's no debating that. And if you have a debate to that, I don't even know what to say to you. And now what he's saying is that what makes him one of the greatest tight ends in the history of the NFL is just a teachable skill set that he could then teach to someone else. Do you know how insane that sounds? That is so absurd. First off, Travis Kelce is a beast. He is wildly strong. Just because maybe he doesn't look like the Hulk out there, he is wildly strong, okay? And his route running and the things that he could do, his hands catching, and his technique and his intelligence, and yes, his relationship with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid also as well, those all add to him being great, and they're not all teachable. It doesn't actually make sense. These athletes, technically Steph Curry, what makes Steph Curry so unbelievable is his ability to shoot the 3. We can all teach people how to shoot. It's just technique. Can't Steph just teach other players how to shoot like him? No, you can't. Because there's so much more going on. So much of what makes these athletes unbelievably amazing is just what they're born with, is their genetics. No matter how hard I work and try, I could dedicate my entire life from the day I was born, I will never be as good as Steph Curry at shooting threes. I will never be as good of a quarterback as Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. And they could teach me everything. Travis Kelce, teachable skill set. Okay, so teach me to be one of the greatest tight ends in the history of the NFL. It's just not happening. That's not the way it works. Okay, let's look at it this way. A very dumbed down, simple example. Intelligence. He says intelligence. Well, what makes him great is partly his intelligence, and you can teach that. Oh God, that is such an absurd statement. Under that logic, okay, you can teach people 5 + 5 = 10, right? And 10 times 2 is 20, right? Those are that's knowledge, teachable. Okay. Well, let's take one of the greatest astrophysicists ever, okay? The guy knows everything about everything. Now I want to learn from him. He could show me everything, teach me everything. What makes that astrophysicist so special is that he just reads and consumes nonstop. He is all up to date with all the theories and is just consuming. Teachable skills. He's just retaining all this information. He's just learning constantly. So he's going to teach me now. He could spend his entire life and my entire life teaching me everything he knows about astrophysics. And no matter how hard I try, I won't even be able to get a job as an entry-level astrophysicist. I'll never be able to get a job at NASA, nothing. Not smart enough, can't do it. But it's just a teachable skill. So what Nick Wright is saying is so absurd. It's actually genuinely mind-blowing. It really, really is. I don't even know what to say to that, outside of what I just did, because it's such, I really hope someone at the table pushes back on that. Because you were saying what makes Travis Kelce one of the greatest tight ends ever is just him like working hard and his relationship with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and learning routes and his smarts. Like, oh God, I can't. That takes the cake as one of the dumbest. That is a dumber take than the Lakers winning in 6.
So getting a young tight end with a lot of upside in the building to learn directly from him, to me, is super valuable. So, I think it's outrageous that the Niners, who are shopping either of their receivers and seem to have some discontent there, and to my eye, didn't get markedly better this offseason, are the favorites to win the Super Bowl. So, but I think this offseason has gone about as well as it realistically could have for Kansas City up to this point.
It is surprising, as closely as that Super Bowl was played, obviously. It's still surprising the Niners are favored because we typically see, or not all the time, but there's a Super Bowl hangover. We just saw it with Philadelphia, which it played the Chiefs very closely. So
that was not a hangover for Philadelphia. They lost their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator, and Jalen Hurts got injured. That matters. Shane Steichen was that offense. He was out the door.
The only possible reason that the Chiefs cannot be favored,
it's a lazy take,
is that we've never seen a three-peat. That's it. The feeling that it's never happened. All right, so nobody's going to win it 3 in a row. I do think, though, Nick, there are reasons, even though the Chiefs are 2-time defending Super Bowl champions, they still can play the underdog card. Like, a lot of people are doubting them. They're not favored. Like, they, to me, are in a unique position for a defending champion. One, they're going for the 3. Like, they got crazy motivation this year.
Right.
A lot of times, a team that won a championship, they talk about it's hard to get up until you get to the playoffs.
This is a special case.
Yeah, they're going for the 3-peat. A QB that is chasing Tom Brady. Like, that's a benefit, too. Like LeBron, you got Jordan out there to chase. Jordan had Magic out there to chase. To have somebody to chase is huge because Mahomes is not going to get complacent. All right, 3, you're coming off what, until the playoffs, was a bad season. Like, they can really look at that. Like, we didn't play well last year. They did once the playoffs started, but now then they didn't have a good year. And I also think Mahomes, Nick, I'm excited for him. He's got to be excited about his new toys.
Well,
I mean, I got 2 burners in Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. Like, man, I'm about to have some fun. And so I think they have a lot of reasons to be motivated.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs should, at the end of the day, be favored to win the Super Bowl because of the weapons they have. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, of course, Travis Kelce. And I think the 49ers, I think it's understandable that they're second. But, and I said this in my previous video with the herd hierarchy, the truth is I see a lot of these teams all in the same bucket. I put the Kansas City Chiefs at the top, but for the most part, I'm putting and I'm not going to remember every single team right now, but, Baltimore, 49ers, the Packers, the Lions, the Texans. I think any of these teams can win in the playoffs and can beat each other. I really, really do. Just look no further than the last couple Super Bowls. If Jalen Hurts doesn't fumble that ball, the Chiefs lose. If Greenlaw doesn't get injured, and if there's not that, the fumble on the punt return, the Chiefs lose and the 49ers win. If the Bills field goal kicker doesn't miss that the field goal, who knows what happens? If Detroit just doesn't go for it on every single fourth down against the 49ers are probably not in the Super Bowl. There's all of those games were decided by so many tiny little things. Like, so many things needed to go exactly right for the Chiefs ultimately to win. And again, kudos to the Chiefs for being the most resilient team. That is definitely part of football as well, is that resilience factor and minimizing their own mistakes. Like, again, the Super Bowl is a perfect example. Patrick Mahomes threw a terrible interception, but ultimately had no repercussions for it because his defense bailed him out in the Super Bowl. So those things matter. And that's why I do give the Chiefs the edge. But theoretically, if we're making bets, the safer bet is the field. The safer bet is the field than the Kansas City Chiefs, right? That is just basic elementary math at that point. But I'm really excited for next season because I really do think next season more than ever will be the definition of any given Sunday, right? And the tagline, "This is why we play," or whatever, because we just have no idea how this season's going to unfold. I just hope that everyone stays healthy so we can get some good, competitive, and equal footing football. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think about the Chiefs not being Super Bowl favorites? What do you think about Nick's insane take that apparently Travis Kelce can teach his top tight end in the history of the NFL skills to just another tight end? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.